Baseball is a very funny game. The last time we talked, it was all doom and gloom. Here we are, not that much into the future, and the Giants are playing extremely well. Tons of good things going on, and just having a ton of fun as the season is kind of winding down. Hello and welcome to Giants Baseball with Ben Kaspick. Man, I've been saying another thing for a very long time, so it is hard to keep that straight. My name is Ben Kaspick. I've been covering the San Francisco Giants for a very long time, since 2015 when I started an independent podcast, and then I was the host of Locked On Giants, where most of you listening probably know me from, for 6.5 years. And now I'm basically doing the same thing, but independently. It is featured on Substack, where you can find me. It's Giants Baseball with Ben Kaspick. That is the name. And actually, benkaspick.com will take you there. That's BenKaspick. I've been writing a lot there, just for the record, just a little housekeeping. Not a lot, but more than podcasting. This is only the second true podcast. And the writing has been paywalled, and eventually there's going to be paywalls for podcasts as well. Maybe not all of them, but some of them. This one is going to be free. I have not set it up. It takes some time because those who pay will get a separate RSS feed in order to get the full version of the podcast. The non-full versions will be half of the podcast is free, but the second half is not free. So just to let you know, if you want to become a subscriber, it's just $5 a month or $50 for a year, and it's full access to everything. So without further delay, let us just jump right into this. So the Giants, like I mentioned, are just all of a sudden the hottest team in baseball. I mean, I don't have the full standings pulled up, although I am pulling them up as I say this, but they're 9-1 in their last 10 games. They're 70-69, so they had really fallen there. And all of a sudden, their run differential is plus 20, which has an expected win-loss record of 72-67, 2 wins better than their actual record. So it is unfortunate that they aren't playing to that run differential, because if they were 72-67, they would just be 3 games back of the New York Mets. I believe 3. The Mets appear to have just played a game today, actually, and lost. And so if the Giants can beat the Colorado Rockies tonight, let's see. Yeah, the Mets lost to the Tigers. And so if the Giants can beat the Rockies tonight, they will be only 4 games out of a playoff spot with, let me do the math here, that'll be 140 games played. So that would be just 22 games remaining. Is that right? Jeez. It goes by so fast after the trade deadline. So that's not a lot of games. There's very much not a lot of time. You pretty much have to win tonight to take advantage of a Mets loss there. The Padres are also just a game and a half up on the Mets, and they're currently playing and losing at the time of this recording in the bottom of the 8th inning against the Orioles at home. So anyway, lots to talk about. I'm not going to get into everything today because I want to save it for a future episode. I did need a little bit of a break. So I would expect more regular podcasts than what there have been, definitely. I just, it was 6.5 years of Monday through Friday with almost no breaks at all. And so I did need some time, and it felt like the right time today. And there's so much to get into. And what I want to start with is what went down yesterday and kind of some of the bigger picture things that go along with it. So Rafael Devers has just been on a tear. I mean, it's just been so great to see that, because he struggled a lot to start his Giants career. But all of a sudden, I mean, he was co-player of the week. It's kind of nonsense. I do feel like every time, this is possibly wrong, but whenever a Giants player wins an award like that, it's they never win it outright. It's always co player of the week or month or something. Like, just give him player of the week. He had so much better numbers than Kyle Schwarber, who was also co-player of the week. The one thing is Schwarber had a 4-homer game, and so I get it, I guess. But if you look side by side, it's not even close. Devers was way better for the week. Player of the day goes to Schwarber for the one day he hit the 4 home runs. And look, he's like the 21st player in history to do it, so I respect that. But still, Devers was the best player in baseball this week and hit home run number 30 in the first inning last night, and that does not begin to tell the whole story of what then went down, which was a fight on the field between the Giants and the Rockies. Kyle Freeland, certified crybaby. Like, Devers did what almost every player, or at least if you were to watch every game every day around the league, at least once per game, probably multiple times, or at least once per day, probably multiple times per day, you're going to see more egregiously, quote unquote, disrespectful home run trots and bat flips than what Devers did. Like, he hit the ball, he just kind of stood there a beat or two, maybe a second or two, and then started kind of walking instead of running, and then he kind of flipped the bat. Okay, it's 2025. This is like stuff that people would have had a problem with 20 years ago, but this in this day and age, like that there was nothing there. And for Kyle Freeland, like, and the Rockies, it must just, like, that was their 100th loss last night. They're 39-100, and so you can understand the frustration. 39 wins. I mean, my goodness, what a frustrating year it must be. And just first inning right away, it's like, here we go again. We're going to lose. I don't know exactly what Freeland said or felt, but we do know what he said. He basically I watched a video of him being interviewed after the game, and he said, it was just very disrespectful. I just thought it was very disrespectful for him to sit there and watch a home run and blah, blah, blah in the first inning. And he said, I've been in the league a long time. I know he has too. And I just thought it was very disrespectful, and I had to let him know. It's like, really? Because Kyle Freeland gives up a lot of homers. I mean, no disrespect, but he gives up homers. Large reason is because he plays in Coors Field half of his games. But like, was that really that different of a home run trot than he's used to? Because to me, there was like, yeah, okay, like in days gone by, that may have been something that led to a pitcher barking at a player. But in this day and age, like, there was nothing there. And now that we've gotten to know Rafi Devers a little bit, like, he didn't mean anything by it. He was just admiring his home run. Like, so what? You gave up a homer. Throw a better pitch. Don't start a benches clearing incident. And so, justifiably so. I mean, Kyle Freeland, it's not like he was out there throwing punches, but he got ejected. And I think that tells you all you need to know. Like, the umpires recognized he instigated it. Like, Devers didn't do anything crazy. He didn't, like, hit the homer, start staring at Freeland and running his mouth. He didn't say anything. He didn't look at Freeland. And so it was crazy because it took forever for them to sort it all out. I was worried because Devers then got involved in the melee that they would somehow find a way to potentially say the home run didn't count because he, like, went out of the baseline or whatever it is. Like, you have to go around the bases and touch them all. Like, you can't just, you have to do that in order for a home run to count. But they eventually, after it all got settled down, made him round the bases, and the home run counted. So I did not read this article yet, but on MLB.com/SF Giants or whatever, it says benches clearing in Colorado makes for longest home run trot ever. So I don't know if we know that for sure. Certainly they can time, like, in the Statcast era, but you don't know. In 1920, was there another similar such incident? Like, we don't know. But it took forever from the time he hit the ball to the time he touched home plate. It was like 15, 20 minutes. It was wild. So Anyway, it was home run number 30, which I get it. Those did not all come in a Giants uniform, but nonetheless, a Giants player just hit their 30th home run of the year, and he spent about half of this season, by the end of it, assuming or hoping, I don't want to assume anything, that he stays healthy. It's only September 3rd. What was I going to say? Oh, shoot, I kind of forget exactly where I was going with that, but he's going to blow past 30. All the projection systems have him hitting roughly 5 more, so that would be like 35. And what I was going to say is he's played almost exactly the same number of games now with the Giants this year as he has with the Red Sox. He's 6 short. He played 73 with Boston. He's played 67 with the Giants. And guess what? He hit 15 homers with the Red Sox in 73 games, and he's hit 15 homers with the Giants in 67 games. And so that's exciting when you start thinking about the future, because 67 games, if you just double that, that's 134 games, and that would be a 30 homer pace over 134 games. And so very much a guy who looks like, in a Giants uniform, capable of being a 30 home run hitter. And so it was a struggle early on. If you look at the strikeout rate with the Giants, it's still way higher than his career norm. Like, his career average strikeout rate is 21.8%, which is nice and even a little below average. Like, he strikes out less often than the average player, although projection systems have him now roughly going forward about average, maybe a little higher than average. But to be able to have the success offensively that he's had, like when you look at it now with a 358 on base, a 482 slugging, a 229 isolated power, which is almost identical to the 232 isolated power he had in Boston, 320 batting average on balls in play with the Giants, 322 with Boston. Like, everything's aligned, and it's not what's crazy too is actually his home run to fly ball ratio is, like, if it were to last, say, like with the Giants, he's homered on 24.6% of his fly balls. So a quarter of the time when he's hit the ball in the air, it's been a homer with the Giants. So that just speaks to what I'm saying about strikeout rate. So, like, if his strikeout rate regresses to its normal level and he continues to homer like on 25, like more balls in play, he gets a lot of hits on balls in play. Like, that 320 average on balls in play is near his 317 career average batting average on balls in play, which is above average. He's a really good, like, hitter, not just power hitter. So, I mean, a career 277 batting average in this modern day and age, when guys routinely, like, league averages in the 240s usually. So this season with both the Giants and the Red Sox combined, it's 263. Last season, it was 272. The year before that, 271. The year before that, 295, 279. So he hits for average, as I think we have seen with some of the types of hits he gets, like the kind of just poke at the ball and just hit it's just a beautiful thing to watch. Like, when they acquired him, I said, this guy is a special hitter. Like, that was the word I kept using. And I think finally Giants fans are getting to witness that this guy is a special hitter. They showed on the broadcast last night some random guy I'd never heard of on Twitter. So hopefully they verified those were correct stats, but I don't remember what it was exactly, but it was like Giants players have 5+ homers, 10+ runs scored, something plus walks, something plus runs, blah, blah, something plus RBIs in like a week or something. I forget. I don't have it. They just showed it on the broadcast, and I didn't like take a screenshot. But you look at the list, it was like Mays, Cepeda, McCovey, Bonds, Devers. And so I wrote in my notes here, like, Rafael Devers is looking like Bondsian, and that is what got me so hyped, and a lot of Giants fans so hyped when they acquired him. And, the players they gave up, Kyle Harrison, Jordan Hicks, James Tibbs, like, as I said at the time, really the main cost was the money of the contract. And the Giants have been trying to get players to take their money for a long time, and they can't. They have not been able to. And so, that's why I was so bullish on this trade for the Giants. So checking in, this is just kind of a little scatterbrained, but it's worth pointing out. Kyle Harrison has not even pitched in the major leagues with the Red Sox this year. He's been in the minors where he started off rocky, but it looks like he's been better lately because his ERA with Boston in AAA, he's made 11 starts, 3.65 ERA, but the strikeout rate is down, the walk rate is up. So we'll see. And again, I wish Kyle Harrison nothing but success, but he hasn't pitched a moment in the majors with the Red Sox. And then so the only player who's pitched in the major or played in the majors from that trade coming out from the Giants to the Red Sox is Jordan Hicks. And what has Jordan Hicks done? Well, he had a 6.47 ERA with the Giants, and he has a 6.38 ERA with Boston. And this was an underrated part of this trade, or like under talked about part of this trade, which is that Jordan Hicks like offset money in this trade. And so people, I didn't hear hardly anybody really mention it from that perspective, but Jordan Hicks was making $12.5 million this year, and he's making $12.5 million next year, and he's making $12.5 million in 2027. And in exchange, really, I mean, you gave up Kyle Harrison, you gave up James Tibbs, who then the Red Sox traded for a rental of Dustin May, meaning Dustin May's a free agent at the end of the year. But basically, like, if you look at it from I guess you could count Dustin May at this point because he was acquired for James Tibbs, although we can look at just Dustin May's numbers and get into what has he done with the Red Sox. Well, he on the season has a 5.01 ERA. With the Red Sox, he has a 5.68 ERA in 5 starts. So you got a 5.68 from May as a starter. And for Hicks, I don't think all his appearances have been out of the bullpen, and a 6.38 earned run average. And in exchange, plus, of course, Kyle Harrison, who is in the minors, and Jose Bayo, the Giants got Devers. And so I'm just thrilled, and just the way that we're now seeing what red hot Rafi Devers looks like. Some of you may remember I asked the host of Locked On Red Sox, Gabby, like, is he streaky? Because when he first came over here, he was just like striking out on 3 pitches, like frequently. It was just kind of frightening to see the struggles. And she said, yeah, sometimes, but when he's on, he's unstoppable, something like that. And that's what we're seeing right now. He's like, every swing is just vicious. It looks like, I mean, he's just such a threat. And you talk about the Giants don't have anybody who can scare opposing pitchers. This guy scares opposing pitchers. Like, they do not want to throw him a strike right now. Like, I would be scared to throw him a strike right now. He's just so on a heater with the Giants. And so anyway, in the previous day, he hit another home run in Denver, 114.5 miles an hour, which happened to be the hardest hit homer by a Giant in the Statcast era, which began in 2015. So I believe it feels like yesterday to me that the Statcast era began. Let me look up somebody who's been in the league a long time. How about Verlander? And we'll see. That doesn't actually work. Wait, yes, it does. I want to make sure. But anyway, so that's a long time. 2017 was it, or was it really 2015? 2015 was the beginning. Wow, a decade of the Statcast era. The hardest hit home run by a Giant in that entire era happened 2 days ago. It was a rocket in the first inning. Both home runs that he hit in this series in the first inning, just getting the Giants on the board. They've got this home run thing going on. I actually forgot to put that in my notes, but the Giants have homered in a large number of consecutive games, and I do believe, apologies, I forgot to write this note and research it, that it's the longest streak in the major leagues of any team all season, and it's the Giants. That's what I mean when I'm saying baseball is a funny game, because last time we talked, it was all doom and gloom. It was all they can't score. It was all like, I don't know. But now all of a sudden, like, they're routinely putting up double-digit run totals. They're knocking the cover off the ball. It's just crazy. Baseball is just a wild game. And for someone like Devers, you watch him struggle, but like, you look at the track record and you just have to trust that and not read too much into the struggles. And yet every year guys will struggle, and especially when I was doing Locked On Giants, like, people will be messaging me all the time about the concern about this player. And it's like, well, but at the end of the day, guys generally just with track records get to their numbers. And that's what we're seeing with Devers. So anyway, what I didn't like about this was that not only was Kyle Freeland ejected, but they ejected both Matt Chapman and Willy Adames. I do understand the Chapman ejection because he was like the first to get to Freeland among the Giants, and he shoved him like with his open palm, like on the chest shove, and didn't knock him to the ground or anything, but it was still an aggressive move. I love it though. Like, to be honest, like, teammates sticking up for teammates. The Giants are pulling as a team. Like, it does really seem like they've got a good chemistry thing going on, and they're fun to watch right now, and they're pulling for each other. It's crazy that there's only 22 games left. I really can't, like, I'm just on the fly, like, trying to make sure my math is right. Today will be game 140. Okay, so they have 23 games, 22 after today, but that's not a lot of time. But if you get to be 4 back with 22 left, you have a shot, especially if you're the closest team to the final playoff position team. If you just keep playing this kind of baseball, like, and you just need some help, like, you have a shot. But it's very much a long shot. Fangraphs lists their odds at like 2 point something %. But where was I going with that? Oh, the ejections of Adames and Chapman. What I didn't understand was Adames. He just got involved, but everybody got involved. Like, if you look at the replay, everybody was involved. And plus, Freeland was the instigator. And so there was actually a press release that I got sent, and any media member got sent just before I started recording this, that there's been a discipline announced for the on-field incident by the league, and it includes a suspension of 1 game to Matt Chapman. It says, and an undisclosed fine for pushing Kyle Freeland during the on-field incident. And it's like, I get that. I get it. Thankfully, you can appeal a suspension, and it means you get to continue to play until the appeal process goes through. Giants are in Denver, so you don't want him not out there, like, in Denver. So thankfully, he's going to be able to play tonight. So I don't know exactly when he'll have to serve that 1 game. These appeals, you can appeal, but he'll probably lose, and he'll be suspended for 1 game. But yeah, I'm not seeing that Kyle Freeland was disciplined in that way with a suspension. He started it all. I'm looking at this right now, and that doesn't make any sense to me at all. But I guess, that wasn't physical what Freeland did. So anyway, but Willy Adames was also fined, as was Freeland, as was Rafael Devers. And I get that. But Adames, like, I guess he was I think a fine would have been enough and not an ejection. So, and it was his birthday, and it's a game in Denver, and he's hot, and he's got a legitimate shot at 30 home runs. And so to miss a game in Denver, definitely could have hit a home run, especially with Freeland gone in the first inning. So, like, after 2 batters and not even getting an out, bullpen game the whole way for the Rockies. Adames certainly could have gone yard in that game. And so that's unfortunate on his birthday to have to get ejected for something that was totally instigated by another player. Adames is red hot. His rolling 15-game weighted runs created plus, meaning in his last 15 games, it's 190. And that's good. I mean, that's about peak where he's been all season at his best, at his hottest. So, and if you look at the numbers, I mean, this is mainly today about Adames and Devers, because I mean, you could also talk about Chapman, but we know Chapman, but Adames and Devers new to the Giants this year. Obviously, Devers even more so, acquired in June. But for Adames, you just look at how slow he started versus where he is now, and it's just so encouraging. And it also, like I said, baseball is a funny game, and you have to be patient. Like, he looked lost for so much of the season, like to start the year. It was like, what, 2 months where he just looked, it was already feeling like, oh my gosh, this might be a disaster of a contract. And it's turning out where he's played to his career numbers. Like, he has a career 110 weighted runs created plus, which means 10%, above average offensively. This year with the Giants, it's 109. So, like, right in line with what he does or has been. Last year it was 120. This year his expected numbers are even better than his actual numbers. His home run to fly ball ratio, very interestingly, again, is actually better this year than it was last year with Milwaukee. And so I'm trying to figure out, well, maybe there is nothing to figure out, because he's got 26 homers, and he is, if he stays healthy, he'll probably end up playing like 159 or 8 games, or even 160. And he's got a legitimate shot at 30 homers. Actually, every projection system listed on Fangraphs has him hitting 30 or 31. They've got him hitting 4 or 5 homers the rest of the season. And so that would be a true 30 home run season, like, by a Giants player for the first time since 2004. Barry Bonds. Like, people say Bonds, but Bonds played with the Giants till 07. So it's not just Bonds, it's Bonds in 04. And so that's crazy. Every other team, I think the stat is like, has had 5 guys at least do it, and the Giants have had 0. So it needs to end. My prediction one of my hot takes going into the year was that the Giants would have not 1, but 2 30 home run hitters this year, and that very well may come true. It's a little bit of a cheating, or what, I don't know what the word is exactly, but Devers doesn't totally count. Although what I was saying was he's hit as many home runs with the Giants as he did with Boston, and he's already hit 30 now, already with a month to play, and he's played fewer games with the Giants than he did with the Red Sox. So you just love to see it. And yeah, I'm looking at home run totals. Matt Chapman only has 18. Willy Adames, by far, like, Elliot Ramos has 16. So nobody else has a shot except Adames, and then we'll see how high Devers can go. But that's why it's unfortunate that he had to get, I mean, that's one of the reasons why on his birthday, ejected in Denver. I just thought that was so stupid. He didn't do enough to be ejected, in my opinion. I get Chapman, I get Freeland. I'm glad they didn't eject Devers. Like, all he did was say, like, what are you talking about, man? Like, chill out. You gave, like, throw a better pitch. You know, it's just whatever. That bothered me a lot. So, also Adames' defense is something I wanted to touch on, because not only did he struggle with the bat to start his Giants career, like really struggle with the bat, but he struggled with the glove, and that has totally changed too. Like, I think maybe this was a comfort thing. Maybe it was a trying to live up to the contract thing. But Adames, like, suddenly you look at this season, if you look at Baseball Savant, his batting run value, 15 runs above average, his base running run value, 1 run above average, his fielding run value, 2 runs above average. They have him at 83rd percentile outs above average, and 71st percentile arm strength, and 65th percentile sprint speed. So all of a sudden, I mean, Willy Adames, forget like feeling concerned about the contract. Like, it's just, that's a baseball season for you. And so part of me is like, well, how are they in this case, like 1 game over 500 only? How is it that in all likelihood they're going to end up right around 500 again? Like, they just can't seem to stop playing 500-ish baseball. They're 35-35 on the road. They're 38-40 against teams that are at or above 500, which is probably one of the, I'd have to look, but like it's one of the better records to be about 500 against 500 or better teams. It means that they've just not played well enough against bad teams. And also they're only 35-34 at home. So that stretch they had where, what do they lose? 15 out of 16 at home. Like that doomed them completely. If they could have just played 500 baseball, that's 7 more wins. And if you added 7 wins to the Giants right now, they'd be 77-62, which would have them as the second wild card team. So just playing simply 500 baseball during that stretch instead of 1-15, which is insane. And that's about the last time we spoke, or at least I wrote an article about that. Yeah, I mean, that could have just completely changed their season. So it's funny just how, to me, like this season just has flown by, and I can't believe we're here and we're in the low 20s with games remaining. And pretty soon it's just all going to be over. And I hope the Giants can continue their miraculous, it's not been miraculous yet, but that they continue to play well. They have a chance with a win to be only 4 games back. The Reds with a win would also be 4 games back. They're currently playing against Toronto, and Toronto's a good team. Trying to check in on their record or their score. It's the second inning scoreless. So we'll see. The Giants need to be ahead of the Reds as well. And then the D-backs are only 1 back of the Giants. They don't play today, and so the Giants with a win would be 1.5 ahead of the D-backs and 2 ahead of the Cardinals, although the Cardinals play later today. So anyway, it's a long shot, but a win would, like, if you can gain a game like today and then like gain a game tomorrow, all of a sudden you go from like 3% to like 15%. You know, it could really jump if you manage to win these games. And so they're absolutely critical because the whole thing is that time is running out. You just don't have time. If you lose to make it up, you just don't have time. And so right now, Giants are playing the Rockies. And when I say tomorrow, they're actually off on the 4th. And then they're at St. Louis. And then they're home against the D-backs and the Dodgers. And then they go on the road against the D-backs and then a 4-game series in LA, which is really tough. And then home against the Cardinals. And then they end with 3 at home against the Rockies, which is basically the best ending you could have. If they're still alive come that final weekend, and you need a sweep or something, and that could potentially get you in, that would be, if they're still alive on September 26th, then they've got a real shot, because this Rockies team is very bad. They're very bad on the road. Their road record is 17-51. Their record against teams that are at or above 500 is 13-70. 13 wins, 70 losses for the Rockies against 500 or better teams. So I wonder what their record against 500 or better teams on the road is. I could figure it out, but their run differential minus 362, which is insane. It's the worst. The next worst team is at minus 170, which is essentially, well, no, it's more than double as bad. So you got to sweep them. Take advantage tonight. Robbie Ray on the mound. There's so much more to talk about, but I think that we're gonna start to wrap it up there. Robbie Ray going tonight. Germán Marquez for the Rockies got a 6.14 ERA. So you have to take advantage, given there's only 23 games left, and with a loss, you'd be 5 back with 22 to play. With a win, 4 back with 22 to play feels a lot more doable. Every game critical at this juncture. So there's a lot of smaller things I wanted to get to that I think will save, like Drew Gilbert and the 4-hit game that he had and the edge that he plays with, and getting into him. Kai Tang with an incredible outing to start off the series in Denver. no runs when he left the game, left 2 runners on, and they both scored. So he ended up giving up 2 runs in 5 1/3. Justin Verlander, to get through 5 to like to qualify for a win, threw 121 pitches in 5 innings. Was such a gritty effort. 10 strikeouts, 3 hits, 4 walks. Shutout inning. So he just had to throw a lot of pitches, but 121 just to gut it out and get a win. Huge and great. And then 2 more things, and these are just teasing topics for the next podcast, which may be paywalled. So if you want to get the full thing, like now would be a great time. Ben Kaspick, KASPICK.com, or you can just search for the name of this podcast on the internet and find my Substack and subscribe. It's Giants Baseball with Ben Kaspick. And the last thing is that, well, 2 things. Randy Rodriguez, I'm not sure he had it yet, but recommended for Tommy John surgery. I've kind of taken a tiny step back, and so he's going to have Tommy John from what I understand. I don't know if he had it yet, but that's bad. That's obviously bad news. He'll miss all of next season. And they traded away a lot of their good relievers, so that it's not good. But yeah, it looks like he probably has not had it yet, it seems. And then lastly, one of the things that I had been thinking about, and then Kuiper said it after Adames hit his 2nd home run of the game in a home game the other day, is like, he said, Willy Adames is probably thinking Giants should play more day games. And I just could not agree more. I had been thinking the same thing. I'm thinking the Cubs do that. Like, they play a lot of day games because it's those night games that make it such a tough place to hit and kind of miserable sometimes. And so they should really, really consider trying to add more day games into their schedule, in my opinion, just to make it a friendlier place for hitters. There's so much more we could get into. There's an updated top 100 rosters or top 100 prospects list that includes some new Giants, and the 2026 schedule. So much to talk about. That's the thing. If we're not doing every day, I would have covered all of this along the way. But now we are just going to cover more chunks at a time in longer chunks. But for now, that is all the time that we're going to go for today. I have not come up with my clever little outro yet, like what to say exactly, but I'm basically going to sign off and hopefully the Giants win. And I can't believe the season's almost over. Expect at least probably 2 or more, 3, 4 podcasts the rest of the regular season, and especially if things get really interesting, or if anything in particular that's really interesting happens. So anyway, this has been Giants Baseball with Ben Kaspick. We also do written content on Substack, so please subscribe there. You can subscribe for free, but that stuff is paywalled. This podcast is not paywalled, but future ones very well. They will be, like, not all of them, but there will be paywalls, just so I can do this ad-free. And just a huge thanks to everyone who has subscribed already. Like, you guys are driving this project, and I do it out of passion. It's a labor of love, but your support means a lot to me. So thank you so much, especially those of you who followed me over from Locked on Giants. That just means a ton. And I know I took a pretty big break there from podcasting, but I just really needed a break. So, it was quite a grind to do like pretty much every single day for 6.5 years. So anyway, it's been a month since I left, and I feel rejuvenated. So thank you for listening. This has been Giants Baseball with Ben Kaspick. And what do I say? What did I used to say? I don't even know. You can follow me on Twitter at Ben Kaspick, Kaspick. If you like this show, please consider rating it or leaving a review. It does help me out so much. So thank you in advance, and thanks to everyone who's done so already. I can't wait to be with you again. Until next time, thanks for listening. I used to say you are now locked on Giants. That's not what I can say. You are now covered on the Giants, because this is Giants Baseball with Ben Kaspick.